With the Board of Park Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, May 2nd. Abby, please call the roll.
Mr. Cappers? Mr. Emmerich?
Here.
Mrs. Westphal?
Here.
All righty. First item on the agenda is going to be a motion to approve the April 4th Board of Park Commissioners meeting minutes and the April 19th Special Board of Park Commissioners meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
And I can second my own, correct?
Yep.
I'll second that. Motion approved. Next, we'll jump into the reports. And Kyler, we'll start with you, my friend. You're the only one here.
No, I don't have anything to add to the report. April was a good month for us. It's been obviously up and down weather-wise and very much down right now. But the golf course is in very good shape, and so certainly the rain has helped with that the last few days. But at this point, just looking forward to the start of the rest of our leagues this week, and obviously some warmer weather.
Is there an update on the maintenance building? Because I saw like all the stuff's out there, but
we are in the very final stages of that. So we do have a zoning permit at this point, just working through the actual building permit. I've had some communication with the folks at the county, so that should be very, very close. And our goal there is to have this thing up within the next week or two.
Oh, awesome.
Okay.
Mr. Drake's not here, Mr. Seiler's not here. I don't know if there's any comments to their reports at all, Susan?
No.
And then I got handed a planning commission report. So with that, I'll make a motion to accept the reports. No?
Nope.
It's going through, okay. Let's move on to new business. Okay. First item on the new business is the potential for hosting the 2023 OSHA tournament and softball games to be held at the North Market Street Fields. So we have done this in the past. It looks like we were provided a list of dates in May and some rainout dates. So I have no issues there. So
I don't either.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
And I'll second that. Yeah. All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion passed. And the next thing on the agenda is the Miami County Pickleball Association. So,
do I have a couple minutes to share with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I don't want to overstay my welcome.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for having me here. And I'm here today as president of the Miami County Pickleball Association, which is rather new. We represent about 200 people who are actually, over 250, who are actually playing pickleball right now. And we got another 100 who are on the sidelines. And all winter long, we were training 3 times a week of people who say, I want to play pickleball. So it's really a big growing thing. My purpose of being here is 2. Number 1 is to thank the City of Troy and the Parks Commission for the support in the past. We were way ahead of the curve. And just in terms of background, pickleball started way back when, like 98. But it came to Troy about 2008, where a couple gentlemen, Roy Baker and Frank Brower, said, let's play pickleball. So they got some people together and started playing. They were using the Duke courts, which were tennis courts at that time. They converted 2 that they could play with, and then they converted 4, and then they said it's time we get bigger. And in 2012, converted all the courts, tennis courts, to 6 pickleball courts at Duke, and then shortly after they added another 6. So it was well, before the curve came. But over the years, it's been growing and growing, and right now it is the fastest growing sport in America. So you've seen it on TV, and you guys all know somebody who's playing. Right now it's really big with the senior crowd, and we play in the mornings. And even as the weather's been horrible, those couple of good days we had 50 people out in the morning before noon playing. And then there's more on the evenings, afternoons, and weekends. So it's getting huge. So my reasons for being here were two. Number one is to thank the city and the park board for the support and where we are, but also to talk about what we need to do and how we need to protect our investment here. Quick aside, in the early years, Troy and Middletown, Ohio used to have a tournament between the two cities saying who could claim to be the pickleball capital of Ohio. And back and forth it went, and for some reason we dropped out of that. And at that time, Middletown only had 6 courts. Now they have something like 18, and they are just huge. And we haven't changed since 2012. So we did a lot early, but we haven't done anything, and we probably haven't done as much as we should to keep those resources fresh and vital and exciting to be the star that they were for so many years. The last 2 years, we were under the impression, or we were given indication, that there would be investment in those courts to keep them up. There's 12 courts. The original 6 courts were the old tennis courts. Those were done over, and those are in pretty good shape. The north courts, which are the newest ones, have never been touched again since 2012, somewhere in there, and they're in bad shape. The poles are bending, the surfaces are cracked. So we've been told for the last 2 years that something was to be done, and then we hear that the money was taken out at the last minute. So we're kind of behind the curve right now, and we aren't proud. We love the facility, but we probably would not have a tournament right now inviting outsiders in because there's so many cracks and that. It's just
This is the Duke Court?
Duke Court, yeah.
Okay.
Again, there's 2 sets, the old 6, the south, and the new 6, the north. The old 6 are fine, except for 1 court, and I'll address that shortly. But the older 6, the newest 6, needs to be addressed. It needs to be resurfaced. And we asked this year for it. We were told money was taken out of the budget, went to the Troy Foundation, and they kind of said it was the city's responsibility to take care of that. So respectfully, we'd like to get on your calendar so that every year we'd like to be an advisory group to you about pickleball so that we can prepare with Jeremy Drake's input, and he's been great to us. He's been really good. Busy man, but he's been really good. What it will take to keep it going, there's a basic maintenance level, and maybe some ideas for growing in the future. In the future, we'd like to see lights out there. There's lights on the tennis courts, and we would have people who would use them. It's a big expense, and it's not something we need to do right away, but something we'd like to do. So we'd like to see an 8-year plan or a 5-year plan or something that says, if it continues to grow, here's what we ought to do, and we'd like to partner with you to give you that insight, and working with Jeremy, to say, here's what we could be doing in the future, so that as the money becomes an issue and you have that difficult challenge of allocating it, that you say, oh, gee, pickleball is really getting big, and how many citizens are doing it, and that you consider it and keep it going, keep it fresh, keep it going well. So that's what we'd like to do. I'd like to partner with you and have a future together in that. Right now, those North 6 courts need to be done. So before your budget comes up, that we want to come back and do a presentation, whatever it takes, so that you can feel the need, as we do, to have that redone. So I'd like to keep
that was on the 5-year plan or what, but I don't know why it got. If you're saying it got.
We were told for the last patching going to be done, and that this year and it got pulled 2 years ago, and it got pulled this year. And this year we were told it was because we're beyond patching. Why waste our money on patching? Let's just wait and redo it all. So we're in that.
Did they give you that timeline?
Nobody's given us anything official. Okay. And that's why we organize as an organization. We want to be somebody. We don't want to be cranky individuals who come in and complain. We want to be part of the solution and be an organization that you communicate with, and we work together, and we can help you, and certainly you can help our needs as well. So that's our goal, and that's why we're here. Yeah. So we don't have a lot of information about it. All we know is that, it was taken out of the budget.
And Jeremy's the one that would know.
And Jeremy says
details.
he has $0 this year to support pickleball, as he told us. So, nothing was budgeted for that specifically. So, next year we need the big money. It was about 54 and something like 54,000 to do it, and that's what we're looking for, or a little bit more because we found some better vendors that we thought.
And is that something that would qualify for grants?
The Troy Foundation said no.
There's other people out there.
Yeah, okay, well, we haven't found them yet.
Okay.
But one of the comments was, those are maintenance items. Those are, the Acorn Society, when it existed, they pitched in and they bought us some bleachers, they bought us windscreens, did some other things, some basic things for us, but we haven't had any other investment in it. Now, one of the things that we brought up is Middletown supports theirs with advertising, and we could probably have everything we want if we wanted to consider that, but our understanding through Jeremy is that's not something that Troy wants to support, is to advertise. So.
Well, we need to work through that.
Okay.
Because they do it for the baseball fields, and there's, the football field, and
I
so I
understood
think...
they kind of took it down for baseball. I don't know for sure, but I understand it's not promoted anymore.
Well...
Yeah, there are some city codes and laws that go around with that, but we do have a 3-year plan that's typically done, and we typically start doing that June, July, August timeline, and we'll get together and we'll really kind of highlight a couple key areas that need to be looked at. We go to all the parks, but then we highlight a couple key areas, and like kind of what you're saying here is if pickleball is a hot topic, then that's probably where we need to spend some time on our summer tour is taking a look at that, and then when we sit down with Jeremy, kind of review what that plan looks like for a next 3-year plan, right?
Yeah.
Well, and we may have to get creative on funding, because there's maybe you can't put a sign up on the fencing or something, but maybe there's another way to
achieve that. Yeah,
to figure that out.
We're not good at this. We want to play pickleball. We don't want to be involved in any of this, but we're going to do what we need to do to help advance it. A couple associated with that, this year we're pretty much okay, and next year that's the big money. There's one thing this year that Jeremy doesn't have a budget for. We had a consultant come out and talk to us about resurfacing, and that we didn't get the money for. And they said one of the courts on the good side, which is the south side, is deteriorating. And they said if we don't take care of it, it will be unusable shortly.
Okay.
So
it needs major work.
Pardon me?
It needs major work.
Yes, one court in just one area, and I don't know what it'll take to do that. But I don't think there's anything going to happen to take care of it this year unless we do something special. But it would be a shame that if one deteriorating court would cause us to have to do the whole thing sooner than necessary. So maybe there's some maintenance to do that we can save that one court without it going bad. So that's something we'll work with Jeremy about, but.
So it sounds like you've already done some pre-work, have a couple, And has that been shared with Jeremy yet or not?
Yes, he's been part of it. We now have a pretty good working relationship. Good. And he's a busy man, and he's not easy to find all the time. But he's very supportive. He communicates with us pretty well, and we're moving together. We share an example. He's going to give us some of the old tennis nets that they've taken down, because we use them for other purposes in different areas of the courts as well. His staff does some things, and he's behind right now. The windscreens that normally are there aren't going to get up for another couple of weeks, which at the moment isn't a problem, but we've been out there already, and he just hasn't had the manpower to get them up yet. But we're patient, and we're working with him on a positive, and he's letting us know where he's at, which is really, really great for us. We enjoy that. So we have a good working relationship. I appreciate that. So that's really, we want to be part of your long-term planning. We'd love to have input to you on an ongoing basis. This year, that one court, I would say we ought to look at it to protect the investment. But other than that, we're in pretty good shape. It is growing, and I'd say in a 5-year plan, it's still growing like it is. If the kids figure out what the seniors have, you're going to need to double the courts to serve the needs. Tip City just put in some, Sydney's putting in more. It's the thing to do. So we were way ahead of the ball game and haven't done much to maintain it. And we need to stay on top of that to make sure it is the bright star that it is for Troy. So.
Sure.
Okay?
I appreciate you saying something. I'm always
Yeah.
aware of that stat. That's like the fastest growing sport. I feel bad that Jeremy's not here to be able to kind of speak to.
And I'd be glad, I teach beginners, I'd be glad to have any of you and all of you out for a class, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of good family sport, too.
You know, I don't mean to overstep my own bounds. I mean, what was your name, sir?
Paul Hinkleman.
Hi, Paul. And this would be up between Jeremy and everybody. I mean, like, we do have an advisory board for the golf course.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had mentioned something like that as far as ongoing input.
Yes.
And I don't mean to put more on Jeremy's plate. That thought struck me as far as having an advisory.
I think that would be very helpful.
That may meet with Jeremy on a more regular basis, so that it's not incumbent upon Paul to come to a meeting and,
Right.
try to stay more on top of something like that. So I no idea what goes into the creation of an advisory board, but just thought I would throw that idea.
Yeah, I think that's very smart.
But we want to be the advocates, and until we have that relationship, we're going to be reminding you. And if you tell us the budget at some point, I can have 50 people here, sitting here, smiling at you with their pickleball paddles, reminding you that that we'd like your consideration.
Sure. Right. I get it.
There's one other thing I wanted to mention. I'm sorry. And this is an awkward one. I don't know where. We would like to put signs on the pickleball courts that give direction for etiquette and play the way we would like it done in Troy, Ohio, which is no different than probably any other city. In tennis, the old way is you show up, and when a court's available, you get to keep it for an hour at a time, and then you have to get off. Pickleball is much more social. If all the courts are busy, it's called open play during certain times, anyway, and our mornings are certain that way. If you show up, and you're sitting on the side, and a game finishes, and games are only till 11, so they go 15 minutes, something like that. You look to the side, and someone's sitting there. Someone from your court needs to get off to let that person play. So it is no reserving courts. It is much more friendly, and you show up, you're in. But we need to remind people, because there are people who think it's like tennis and say, we have this court, we were here, we're not leaving. And we have 40 other people waiting to play and who are cycling in and out. So there's some basic signs that can give that direction and the courtesies and etiquette of pickleball that we'd like to put up. And we would write them. I talked to Carrie about this, and she said that maybe a bunch of people involved in getting that approved, but I would like to do that. And any direction you can provide for me, how do I get that done, would be a good thing. We'll provide, it'll be simple, but you guys don't want to be in the middle of that. You don't want calls about people not playing nicely and all that.
Well, I think that would be helpful for people to know.
Right.
I mean, if you don't know, you don't know. Right. So that would be very helpful.
And we'd even like to put our name on it in contact so that new players can have information where lessons are and those kinds of things.
Sure.
So the rec department isn't supporting it actively that way, where they've got people involved, and we can do that, and we're willing to do that. So maybe there's a partnership we'd like to have there.
Yeah, if you have like some outline of signage, I would start with Jeremy on that, as far as that, and we can follow up with him as far as what that would look like and what the next steps are there.
And Carrie said that, the park board would probably be involved in theirs and everybody else too. And that. Just a quick aside, one of the nice things we're doing, the rec group provides an AED that somebody bought, and it's out there in a locked box, and Carrie and her people are going to have training for us out there, which is really nice for the public to be invited to participate. So they're supportive, and they're doing great with us too. So
great.
All right.
Great. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, lots of food for thought.
Yeah, it's good.
And I guess we'll have to discuss this more with Jeremy.
Yeah, I think so, and then I think we should probably just include it also in the park tour again, and we sit down and come up with three.
Well, and
five-year plan.
that's a big number.
It is.
So we'll have to work on that. so, right.
Anything else tonight? All right. I'll take a motion to
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn?
And I'll second that. All right. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.